Call on Government Order of the Day number 2.
Taranaki Iwi Claim Settlement Bill, second reading.
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Christopher Finlayson.
Mr Speaker, I move that the Taranaki Iwi Claim Settlement Bill be now read a second time. This bill gives effect to a deed of settlement between the Crown and Taranaki Iwi, which was signed in a very emotional ceremony at Pukaiti Gardens in September 2015. It provides financial, commercial and cultural redress and acknowledges the losses suffered by Taranaki Iwi arising from very serious breaches by the Crown of its treaty obligations. Can I acknowledge the work of the Taranaki Iwi negotiators as I stare at Mahara Okoroa? Can I acknowledge my ministerial colleagues, local government and other agencies who have contributed to this bill? And I also want to thank the Chair and members of the Select Committee for their very good work during the consideration of the bill and the exploration of the issues raised in submissions. The bill was referred to the committee on 25 March. 7 submissions were received from interested groups and individuals, and the committee heard from 4 submitters at hearings in New Plymouth on 2 June 2016. The committee reported the bill back to the House just a couple of weeks ago and recommended it be passed with a number of minor technical amendments. These include amendments to clarify the vesting of cultural redress sites, the right of first refusal provisions, and updating the legal descriptions of redress sites. And can I say it's a testament to the hard work of the negotiators that the Taranaki Regional Council fully supports representation of the iwi of Taranaki on the 2 council standing committees. Taranaki iwi also has the support of their neighbours for the progress of the bill and for joint redress, including the vesting of ngā motu with Te Atiawa. Now, the matter of iwi representation on the Taranaki Regional Council standing committees also arose last week at the committee stages of the Ngā Ruahine Claims Settlement Bill. I mention it because it's relevant to both this and the other Taranaki Settlement Bill going through the House today, which contain the same provisions in relation to these committees. At the committee stage of the Ngā Ruahine debate, New Zealand First proposed a supplementary order paper to remove iwi representation on these 2 standing committees of the Taranaki Regional Council. I then explained to the House why it was appropriate to have iwi representation on these committees, just as, for example, some other members of the current committees are appointed from external bodies, including from Federated Farmers, which is in effect an unelected member. After my explanation, New Zealand First withdrew their SOP, and as far as I can tell, and I acknowledge, Mr Speaker, I'm not a psychic, this could be one of the reasons why New Zealand First has raised an 11th hour objection to this bill. It's simply unclear, but I very much look forward to hearing the explanation because I think it's representation. But I do say to them, the clauses in the Taranaki Iwi Claim Settlement Bill dealing with this issue are exactly the same as in the Te Atiawa Claim Settlement Bill, which of course they voted for a few minutes ago. So it's all confusing, and I very much look forward to hearing what I'm sure will be a splendid explanation from Peter Peroni or Mr Peters. Well, from Mr Peroni. Kaupapa Tuatahi was the Waitangi Tribunal report about which mention has been made already this morning. It was released in 1996. It's well worth a read, including people who write to me, as someone has this morning. I won't mention his name because I don't want to embarrass him. He could be a New Zealand First branch chair. I read with real disgust your further attempts to impose Maori on the rest of the population without the population's consent, and then comments along those lines. Very helpful contribution to the debate. But I do think it would be useful for people to look at the events underlying the Taranaki iwi claims, because they are some of the most severe in this country. and I very much look forward to people like my correspondent learning more about treaty settlements, in particular the history of Taranaki iwi and what they've suffered, and the history of what happened at Parihaka, and it wasn't all that long ago. And I look forward to the continued benefit of treaty settlements for our regional economies and Maori communities. These settlements, once they receive the royal assent, will bring over $200 million into the Great Taranaki province. Throughout negotiations, Taranaki iwi has signalled the importance of addressing the issue of Parihaka. The Crown's actions at Parihaka are some of the worst examples of colonial repression in New Zealand, and judging from the contributions made by various members around the chamber this morning, I think people know that pretty well around here. The Crown has to address the harm its actions caused the residents of Parihaka, both past and present. The Crown is working to restore its relationship with Parihaka to re-establish trust with the community, and I think both sides are working very carefully and are not rushing things, because this is a very, very important issue. As a first step in May this year, I signed a compact of trust with Parihaka. We're now on the road to reconciliation with the community, and it's a journey that's long overdue. Ngāti Maru has now signed terms of negotiation and is ready to negotiate. That is the last iwi of Taranaki that will be involved in negotiations, and that now means that the Crown and all the iwi of Taranaki can look to the issue of the maunga. All iwi have connections to Taranaki maunga, and I look forward to beginning those negotiations in the near future with all the iwi of Taranaki to recognise the importance of the maunga. Mr. Speaker, this second reading brings us closer to the concluding stages of the settlement process for Taranaki iwi, and seeks to recognise what is important to the people of the iwi and to provide redress for the historical breaches. And I very much look forward to hosting the iwi of Taranaki here in Wellington for a joint third reading of the Taranaki iwi Tiatiawa and Ngā Ruahine claim settlement bills in the very, very near future. Mr. Speaker, I commend this bill to the House.
Members,